Hello and welcome to another year, fourth consecutive year actually, of 15 days of breakaway roping. I am your host, Jordan Jo Hollabaugh, and I am so excited to bring you our fourth consecutive 15 days of breakaway. I keep saying it, I just pinch myself. I love this time of year. It's a little better than Christmas for me because we get to talk about breakaway roping all day long for 15 straight days. Kind of a big deal. And, I'm just so excited. Over the past 3 years of doing this, we've had over 75,000 people listen to this specific series. So I just want to say a huge shout out to all of our listeners out there. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for helping In the Loop podcast grow. This year is going to be great. I think probably the greatest year ever. Absolutely. We have some really cool things coming down the pike. And I just want to say a huge shout out to our partners this year because I absolutely could not do this without them. This series of 15 Days of Breakaway 2024 is brought to you by Wrangler. Wrangler butts drive you nuts. And we also have other partners such as Patterson Garage and Trailer Repair in Springtown, Texas, Rattler Ropes, Pro Fantasy Rodeo. Go get that breakaway team, y'all. WRWC, the Women's Rodeo World Championships. We've got some really cool questions coming, Fancy's Burning Questions. And Rodeo Now. Upload all of your rodeo videos and have them in one place. I'm excited to be a part of this year's 15 Days of Breakaway. It's really special to me. So thank you guys again for listening. If you have any questions for me, or if you would like to give us any input, I would love to know what you think about these breakaway roping series episodes. And if you have any breakaway roping questions, period, email me at jordan@intheLoopPodcast.co, and I will get back to you and answer all of your questions. Make sure you share these episodes with all of your friends. We appreciate your guys' support and helping In the Loop podcast grow. So with no further avail, let's get to it. 15 Days of Breakaway 2024. Here we come. Okay, guys, so we are back on In the Loop Breakaway Roping Podcast with our 15 Days of Breakaway. We're rolling through this. We're coming in today with a rookie, number 7, Maddy Deerman, with $112,897 and the lowest rodeo count, 61 rodeos. Maddy, thank you for coming to the show. Congratulations on your first ever NFBR qualification. What does it feel like to have that under your belt?
Hey, Jordan, thank you. It is so exciting. I remember when I was in elementary, maybe junior high school, one of my teachers asked me what my goal was. And at the time, breakaway wasn't even close to being where it is now. And I was like, well, I want to make the finals heading. And here I am. I'm actually able to make the finals doing what I love. So it's a childhood dream come true.
I love that. Congratulations. It's, I don't think that you ever get over the smile on your face when you hear that. And it's just job well done. Congratulations again, because you went to the least rodeos of all of us. Wow. Which last year, let's just be real. Last year, you only went to 25 rodeos and almost made the NFBR. Had you known there was a rodeo count and a maximum amount you had to get to, I think you probably could have got it done last year.
Possibly. I didn't know that was in the books last year at all. And, I don't kick myself in the butt or anything for not going to more last year because that, I wasn't planning it last year. I will say though, I was hoping going on the road this year that it would be as easy as it was last year, but oh my gosh, it was not.
Well, and I just want to tell this really cool story because your story is obviously so cool in so many different ways, but just surreal to me and so proud of you as your friend to see you in here. I remember 2023 Big Springs Professional Rodeo. We're out in the back, we're warming up, and you came up to me last year and you're like, what do you think I should do? I've got a full job offer. I'm going to school. It's my dream job. It's perfect. I don't know if I want a rodeo. You were torn in between, do I rodeo? Do I do this job? And I was like, you pray about it and you see what happens. You had a phenomenal year last year. Won the Ram National Circuit Finals in Colorado Springs. You won Puyallup. You just kicked butt, took names. It seemed like everywhere you went, you won money, and it was so awesome. And then that puts you into the building. So then here starts off your year. So tell me a little bit about what your year's been like, and in a whirlwind of, like you said, you were hoping it was as easy, but it wasn't. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, like you said, I got into the buildings and I was still in school earlier this year up until May. And so I did still have my school schedule to work out, but it was my last semester of my master's, and I was kind of working things out on my thesis, and my teaching schedule was a little bit easier because I'd been doing it 3 times prior. And so it was just a little easier to make the rodeos this year. And so I made all the buildings. I didn't really go to many rodeos besides the buildings, but luckily I won money at every one of those, and those put me in a great standing leading out till the summer. I wasn't able to go to California because of my school schedule. I think I actually defended my thesis right around the time California was going on, and I still college rodeoed, and college rodeo didn't go well, but luckily I was able to channel some luck into the pro rodeos. But let's see, left for the summer. And when I left for the summer, I was still planning on quitting rodeoing in August, no matter where I was, and going back home to start my job as a petroleum geologist. And as the summer went on, I honestly loved rodeoing. Before I actually left for the summer, I was kind of scared. I wasn't sure if I would like rodeoing or not, like being gone from home all the time, being out like at the mercy of the road, like having blowouts, getting stuck on the side of the road and whatnot. And I actually ended up loving it. You know, I was so busy. It felt like there wasn't much downtime. Had a great place to stay in Utah on the times we didn't have downtime with the Websters, and they were great to us. And got to see so much country and so many fun places. And so as August drew close, I kind of got like this pit in my stomach, and I'd been praying about it the whole summer. And I never got like a clear answer of God telling me like, no, you should quit your job in rodeo. But gosh, I just had such a pit in my stomach when I thought about quitting doing what I love. And I was sitting great in the top 10. And I knew that I wanted to stay in the top 10 as well for the Kaiser Ranch Breakaway. And so I made the decision to stay out there and not start my job. And it felt like this weight was lifted off my chest. And honestly, when I made that decision, rodeoing got so much better. Like you could see it in my performance. I started winning and placing a little more. So that was my summer in a nutshell.
Yeah, just, waved your wand and then went about it. Talk to me a little bit about your planning. So you went to 25 rodeos last year, this year 61. How did you plan as far as what rodeos you wanted to go to, what your traveling situation looked like? And, after you made that decision, I know you were probably halfway in going over the 4th of July, things like that. August was already coming up. We have to enter almost a month ahead of time for a lot of these rodeos. So talk to me about how you mapped out, where you were going to go and why you did that.
Yeah, so I set a hard goal for myself earlier before I left, that I was not going to string myself out traveling. I wasn't going to string my horses out, and I wasn't going to be flying here and there and everywhere. And so with that in mind, I looked at rodeos with added money, more than 5,000 added. And then I would also ask Garrett, my fiance, because he's been out a couple years before me, about little duck offs that would be easy and still fit in my rodeo account. And so that was the biggest part of planning. Like I didn't want to drive 8 hours just to go to a $3,000 added rodeo, and wanted to try to kind of not have to drive back and forth. So I kind of tried to plan my rodeos where it was one after the other, no driving back and forth. And luckily it seemed to work out this summer where I didn't have to drive too much, never stress myself out too bad. And that was the biggest part of planning. I did, right around the time July hit, I was making the decision whether to start work or not. And I remember Kennewick was the first rodeo that I would have to make a decision to enter or not. And before I made the decision to leave and go home, I entered it just in case I had decided to quit. And so entering was a little bit easier in August, didn't have to drive too much, and a little more downtime to, get to places. But honestly, I didn't really ask a whole lot of people about entering. I would ask questions here and there, but a lot of it was just me looking at the schedule and my calendar and trying to make it up myself.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that we're starting to see more of that. I think that when girls first started rodeoing out there, it was like every rodeo that they could possibly get to, they were entered and they were going, right? And we were just like fanatic about all these things. And now I think you're starting to see more girls that are putting their schedule together, putting their rodeos together on what works best for them and their horses and all the things. And so I love to hear that. And, I think that there's this well, I won't say it's not a spoken fear, but it's like a fear of missing out, right? Like, this next year we're going to have an 80 rodeo limit. And it's like, I think everybody freaked out thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm only going to get to go to 80 rodeos. That's a lot of rodeos. And so I love to see that you went to 60, knocked it out of the park, top 7. I want to talk a little bit about the Kimes Ranch $1 Million Breakaway. I know we're here talking about the NFBR, but that was something that was huge, knowing that we're going to be, if you're in the top 10, you get the chance to rope at 10 rounds for $25,000 a round nights, $60,000 average. I mean, it is essentially I don't want to demoralize it in any way, but it is our NFR before the NFR money-wise. It's something equivalent to what the guys are roping for. So how was that a priority and for you, and knowing that you're going to get to do this, and where do you think that's going to go in the future?
Well, first off, I'm just so thankful that they're giving that opportunity to us. We may not be able to make up all of the money that we lost in the summer at the finals of Breakaway, but we do get to make it up at Kimes Ranch. And from what I hear, it's going to be a simulation of as close to the NFR as we can get. So I'm so very excited for that. For my planning, I'm not going to go out there and try to take swings over them to catch all 10. I'm planning on just going and making my run as usual, try not to make it too fancy. And I honestly think that the Kimes Ranch is a great preparation for the NFR Breakaway as well for South Point. It kind of gives a rookie like me a chance to shake off the nerves before we actually rope in the big show and get to run the same amount of caps and everything. And I mean, for Breakaway, as for where I see it going in the future, everything in Breakaway is just taking leaps and bounds forward every single year. So I can't even imagine what they have planned for next year. But I'm sure it's going to be 10 times better than this year.
Well, and I love that you are so humbly, but you say a rookie like me. I don't feel like you're a rookie, Maddy. You just had prior commitments to doing this. You got your education, you set yourself up for a great future. You finally made the decision, hey, I'm going all in on this, which reflects your wins this year. You won Puyallup again for the second time. You had so many other wins all over the board. I didn't have time to write them all down. Sorry. But mainly one of the things I noticed all summer long is, like you said, you were consistent and you made your run regardless. So what does it take for you to have that confidence in being consistent, and what is your biggest key to success that you think?
To answer the first part, what it takes to make my run, honestly, I feel like I've made my run so many times, and I do have an advantage because I'm really not a rookie. I've been roping with you girls since I was in high school, since before there was Breakaway and Pro Rodeo. And so I'm extremely comfortable being out there. It's really just like another rodeo to me. And so I'm able to go make my run without, those nerves being there. And I've made it so many times that my muscle memory knows it. My biggest key to my success. I honestly think it was not fighting my head. I've heard so many stories, from podcasts and in person from girls and other athletes that say, you are your worst enemy. And even when I started roping, if I had little dry spells over the summer, I'm like, hey, it's no big deal. It happens. I know how to rope. I deserve to be here, positive affirmation type things, letting myself know that even, if I miss, I have another rodeo probably the next day or the same day to go to. So that was my biggest saving grace, probably not getting in my head too much.
Okay, guys, so one thing that I have learned as I have rodeoed and traveled millions of miles is that we all need that one great trailer guy. And I have found that with my friends Dickie and Jordan at Patterson Garage in Springtown, Texas. With years of experience, Patterson Garage and Trailer is locally owned and led by Dickie Patterson, who does the automotive side, and Jordan Evans, who does the trailer repairs. They can fix anything and everything from RVs, trailers, vehicles, brakes, wiring, trailer conversions, generator repair, we all need that, AC, repair, suspension, brakes, you name it, they can do it. And one thing I love is that every time I call down there, day or night, Jordan is always there to help me. Dickie has been able to fix anything and everything we need on this truck. So when you have that need and you need to get your trailer in and get it fixed, take it to Springtown, Texas, to Patterson Garage and Trailer Repair. Call Jordan at 817-220-1242. You can find them on their website, pattersongarageandtrailer.com. They're on social media. Google search them, y'all. They're everywhere. All of your trusted repair solutions for all of your trailer needs. Call Patterson Garage and Trailer Repair. How do you, when you prepared that way, is there certain things that you studied or have done in the past to get to that mental state and have that confidence, have that sureness of, hey, this is what I do, this is who I am, this is what I'm gonna be?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I really think one of my biggest tools I have is roping the dummy. And it might sound so dumb, but you know, when you aren't able to practice for several weeks, several days or whatever, I rope the dummy and I can visualize that run in my mind. Like a lot of times what I'll do, if I've never been to an arena before, I'll look up a picture of it on my phone and I'll visualize like the calves that will rope. I'll visualize that I have like a black calf and I'll get in there and cock my rope and nod my head like I'm roping, and I'll see that run happen in my head. And in that run, like I envision that I'm nervous and I kind of like fill myself with confidence for the run I'm going to make. And I really feel like that visualization has been so good for me. Like I've made the run before it even happened. That's been really strong for me. And honestly, I think my faith in God is another big thing, because it's God's plan that I'm out there to rodeo right now. And so, you know, where else would I be?
Amen. I love to hear that, sister. Well, and I want to talk about your visualization too, because I have found so much confidence in that as well. And like you said, you know, you're picturing yourself nervous. You're picturing all those things. And studies show that your brain cannot tell the difference between something that actually happened and something you tell it has happened. So it's like, you know, okay, we have the control right here to do this. So I think that that's so cool. I know my husband and Garrett sat down and talked about that at Reno. Your fiance, we'll make sure and give him a shout out here. But you know, and I think it's a key component to everything that we do. But I love that you're doing that. You're putting yourself in those situations. And, you know, I think that that is a big key to your success, and you can see it on your face. And as you watched your rope all summer, all winter, everywhere I see you, like you said, you're not a rookie. You've been doing this for a long time. And so I think that's so cool to see you rope, and just through the years I've watched you rope progress and get that more and more confidence has been really neat. So tell us a little bit about your horses, your horsepower. The other day we were at San Angelo roping, and you were talking about a roping coming up, and you're like, hey, you know, I'm just trying to plan out which horse to take where. You have a great string of horses. Your fiance Garrett also gets to ride one of your horses. So tell me about your horses and what they are and what different places you ride them.
Yeah, my main one is Whopper. He's the bay with the blaze face, and I rode him most of the summer. There was a little stretch in the middle of the summer, and it corresponded with the biggest rodeos, unfortunately. But he had a few days off at the beginning of July where he was able to be at my mom's house, and she vaccinated him, and he actually had a bad reaction to that vaccine. And so he had to be out the full month of July. But anyways, I'll get back to that in a little bit. Whopper is my horse. I can use him in any setup, and he gives me so much confidence to rope on him because he makes it so easy. And the way he works, like he'll run and he kind of stops on his front end, but not enough to take the rope away from you, but he stops hard enough to break it off pretty fast. And so he's my go-to for fast setups. My next one is Yeller. He's my old faithful. He's 17, and I've probably ridden him since he was a 3-year-old, so I know him like the back of my hand. He's great for the longer setups. I used him at Prescott, Greeley, Cheyenne, Salinas. He's just really true. He can run hard, and I know that he won't take my throw away from me, but he is so true sometimes that he'll add a couple tenths to it because he won't kind of punch on his stop. And so he had to pick up the slack when Whopper was out in July. And then my third one I kind of used on and off that Garrett also shares with me is Bebop. And Bebop's, he can kind of do everything, nothing fancy, but he's there for me. He's a backup. And I also have one coming up that I was so excited to use this summer. He can run so hard. His name is Geronimo, but he got crippled at the beginning of the summer and I couldn't use him. But yeah, I used Whopper most of the summer except for July. And honestly, I could really tell when Whopper was out. Like I started roping a little dry. I got on Yeller for some of the faster rodeo setups and we just were not clicking at those fast rodeos. And I used Bebop a little bit, and he did help me win Nampa or win second at Nampa and win the long go at Nampa. So I was lucky to have him. But other than that, that Whopper's reaction to the vaccine, I had great luck with my horses this summer. None of them got sick. None of them got tired from hauling. So I'm very happy with my team of horses, and I plan to use Whopper and Yeller at the NFR.
Awesome. That's great. So talk a little bit about sharing Bebop. I mean, do you tell Garrett how to ride? Does he tell you how to ride? Who tunes on Bebop? Like, tell us all the good details there.
Well, I can't tell you everything, but no, I'm just kidding. We get along real well. Me and Garrett get along real well with sharing him. Like, I feel like I do a lot to tune Bebop up for him, and then he does a lot to tune Bebop up for me. I feel like Bebop taking the jerk and tie down has helped us stop a lot. Garrett didn't really use Bebop a whole lot of the summer. And the only time that I needed him was July. That spell when Whopper was out. And Bebop was actually sitting in Utah at that time. And I was just trying like heck to find someone to get him to me. And so it never overlapped too much. But Garrett and I do a great job sharing him. He's a really valuable horse to us because of all he can do. And I'm really glad to have him as a backup for that reason.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited. And we were talking earlier, your wedding is coming up. You were supposed to be planning for that this summer and all of your downtime that you thought you were going to have. But you didn't quite get to do that because we don't have just a whole lot of time when we're on the road. So talk about what consumes most of your time when you're on the rodeo road.
Driving, 100%. That's an easy one. Let's see. When I wasn't driving, when I was driving, I have one of those magic boxes, so I watch a lot of movies. I watched all of Breaking Bad, and I watched all of Better Call Saul. And my first travel partner, Shay Schaefer, she loved reality TV, so we would watch that every now and then. We'd watch some reality TV shows. When I wasn't driving, I defended my thesis back in at the end of April. And so I had to do a lot of edits that after I had defended that my advisors and the people on my committee suggested. So that consumed a lot of my time in the passenger seat, and also when I was just sitting at a rodeo until probably July. And I had told myself, after I finished the edits on my thesis that I was going to start reading books again. And so I read a lot of books when I was on downtime. But there really wasn't a whole lot of downtime like I thought there would be. If we weren't roping, we were usually either taking care of the horses or driving.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that I too expect that. Like, I brought a stack of books and I'm like, doing my marketing business on the side, podcasting. I'm like, oh yeah, there will be tons of time, but there's really just not that much time as you think. So I love to hear that. But let's talk a little bit about what's in your rope bag. What kind of ropes do you use, and why do you choose those ropes?
I use Spitfire ropes by Rattler Rope. I either use the 60-S or the 50-S. When I use the 60s, it's usually because I'm roping bigger, stronger cattle. Like I use the 60s a lot when we were roping the big calves or the muley-looking calves. I just felt like a big, heavy open rope is a little easier to get my loop around the neck. And then if we would rope smaller and slower calves, I'd use the 50s because I felt like, it does a better job having my curl come up and over so I don't curl legs or tails. And especially if a calf slows up, usually I guess I don't throw a snappy enough loop with a 60 to get my curl to come up. And so if I had a slower calf or a smaller calf, I would definitely switch to the 50. I like the Spitfires because they feel so much like a team rope to me. I grew up team roping, and so I've always liked like a stiffer rope that stays open. And the Spitfire to me is one that it will always stay open, even with my funky type of swing. It's never balled up on me. So they're always my go-to summer or winter.
So talk about the length of your ropes. That's a big topic of conversation. Like how long, how short, do you change it in setups? What do you prefer there?
Yeah, I do change it in setups, and I don't know what the exact footage is. I have ropes that I keep as reference. Like I ride on their Hondas, I'll say like short, normal, short, new, or anything like that. So I have a short rope, and I'll cut my short ropes and use them in the winter buildings especially. I didn't use them so much this summer, but if I knew that I had to be probably like less than a 2 flat to win the rodeo, I'd use a short rope. And I have found myself in situations, I like to reach a whole lot. And so there have been situations where I've been in a shorter setup, and I've used too short of a rope, and I felt like it's kind of impacted how far it travels, and I might miss because of it. And so if I think there's a chance I might reach, I always reach for my longer rope. There can be more than probably, I'd say, 2 feet difference between the 2 types of rope that I use. But for the summer, it was mostly long ropes because we usually have to score them out and run them just a little bit further.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And, you know, I think one of the things you do best is you can throw a lot of rope. You can reach a long ways, and you're very consistent with that. What are some of the things that you've learned and or done in the past to keep you that way and give you that ability?
Yeah, so with the way that I swing, I always have my plane tipped off to the right. And a lot of girls will keep theirs straight, but I feel like keeping mine tipped off to the right quite a bit allows me to follow through from the plane of my rope down to the end of my hand instead of fluid motion. And also, too bad we don't have video, or else I could show this. But I try to keep my shoulder back as far as I can so that I feel like I have enough power to reach and deliver all that way. And one of the things that have helped me stay consistent reaching that far is reminding myself to always throw to the end of my rope. Usually if I miss reaching, it's because I weaning arm it and don't throw all the way to the end. And so if I can remind myself that, it helps so much.
Next time I see you, I'm going to say, don't weenie arm it, Maddie.
Yes, tell me that every round of finals.
Okay, deal. Oh man. Okay. I love to hear that. And I think that the coolest thing about the top 15 is everybody has a different style. I love to hear how much knowledge and wisdom everybody has about all of their styles and how it can apply to anybody and everybody. You can always take something and apply it to how you're roping and how that may benefit you. So thank you for sharing that. Next thing I want to ask you, two different things. What is your favorite memory this year inside of the arena, and what was your favorite memory outside of the arena?
Favorite memory inside the arena definitely was Puyallup. Right before Puyallup, I'd been kind of in a dry spell. It was like I've been making great runs, but I just can't place up high with them. I felt like I'd made a great run every single rodeo, but I just wasn't winning anything with it, and I was getting really frustrated. And Garrett and I, my fiance, we also kind of had a meeting. He was like, hey, we need to change things for this rodeo, and I see some things with your roping. And I'm really lucky with him because I've been with him so long, and he knows my roping so well. I have a different style from other people, so it's kind of hard to seek help. And he's like, hey, I see this in your roping. He thought that the plane of my rope was getting too flat rather than being tipped off to the right. And so we really practiced that before Puyallup. And, I got the win there, and it was special to me because I needed that boost to make sure that I stayed inside of the top 10. And it also got me closer to the number one girl, got me over the 100,000 mark, where I realized that I could win the world title if I did good at Sioux Falls.
Yeah. And
so that was definitely my favorite inside the arena. Outside the arena was Big Fork, Montana. That was such a cool rodeo, such a cool place. It was near Glacier National Park and in the mountains. And it was just like a small town America feel, small town America rodeo. And I was in with Taylor Munsell at that time, and we got to Big Fork at like maybe 5. And I think the perf started at probably 7:30. And so we got set up and everything and unhooked at 5:30. And we were going to go jump in this lake at Big Fork. I think it's called Flathead Lake, but it was like the biggest, clearest, prettiest lake I've ever seen. And so we unhooked, got there, and we jumped in the lake and swam for probably too long. And we got back and like threw our saddles on, and I'm pretty sure our hair was still wet when we roped. So that was my favorite memory outside the arena. I got to do a lot of other fun things, but that one just really stood out to me. We were gonna go jump in that lake, whether we got turned out or not.
No matter what, you were going to the lake.
I didn't even do good at that rodeo either. I missed that calf, but it's still probably my favorite rodeo this year.
Well, and I love to hear that. I think it's those memories that are always going to stick with us. And it just goes to show, I mean, yes, we're all here, we're competing, and we're doing all those things. But at the end of the day, it's the memories that are going to last. And so I love to hear that. That was really funny.
Yeah.
Your hair was still wet. Oh,
yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah,
it is a beautiful place. I had never been there before either. It is one of the prettiest places, I would say. If you can enter Big Fork, Montana, you need to go. Coolest little town. The drive up there, I thought, was beautiful.
Yes.
You go, and one of the roads you can take, you go, like you said, alongside of the lake, and it is beautiful, clear, like you see in the mount, like you see on pictures and movies and all the things. That's Big Fork, Montana. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it doesn't do it justice. I also got addicted to huckleberry up there.
I saw that. I never tried that, but I next year I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to just step out of my element a little bit more and get curious.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, let's talk some pro fantasy questions. We talked a little bit earlier, and you said you had never played pro fantasy breakaway before. What are you thinking about this year? You think you're going to play? If you do play, what's your team going to look like?
Yeah, I think so. I thought about it, and I think I got a pretty solid team picked out. And so actually, my fiance Garrett, he's really savvy about this roping stuff and like kind of predictions and everything. So I think I'm going to get him on.
You can phone a friend and ask Garrett, who your team would be. Yeah. This is team pre-Garrett. We will also probably be entering team post-Garrett. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So if you were going to pick your team off the cusp of your hand, who would that be?
So my number one pick would be Munsell. She will always win money wherever she goes. I don't think she goes anywhere without winning money. And not only is she good with go rounds, but also the average. So she was my number one pick. And Danny was a little further down in the standings, but that's an advantage to the pro team because Danny is definitely going to go for some go rounds and catch some calves fast. And so she's a great pick to have. And also Haley, she's been to the NFR before. And so, she knows what it's going to take and be pretty solid there. And my last pick is Tiata. This is her first year, but I think she's going to be solid there. And Tiata rides such a nice horse. And I honestly think that she's going to be amazing for the average. I think she'll be a pretty good contender for the average.
Yeah. 100%. That looks like a great team to me. Like I said, you can consult with Garrett and let him know what you're thinking. And then you guys come up when the winner of this wins $10,000. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. Go ahead and win you some money at the NFR, but then also walk away with a $10,000 pro fantasy rodeo bonus.
Yeah. Doesn't sound too bad.
You could spend it on Garrett, buy him a cute dress for his wedding. Okay. We're also doing a new segment this year called a fan question. So we let all of our fans submit a question, and everybody, we had several fans submit several questions for several people. So it's really hard to narrow it down, but we did anyway. So the question I picked for you, Maddy, was what made you decide to turn down your job offer to chase this dream of yours that you're getting to live right now?
Oh my gosh, that's a huge one. So I was like dead set on starting the job at the beginning of the summer. And the job would have been a week on, week off for the first 6 months in Hobbs. And so I was like, okay, that first 6 months will be great. I can rodeo in my week off. And one of the downsides to that was I would have to go to Midland after those first 6 months, Midland, Texas. And that was full-time there, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And so I was like, okay, I'll have this 1 year. I'll be able to make the finals easy. I can still rodeo all my weeks off. And so that was the plan for most of the summer. And like I was talking about earlier in the podcast, as August drew near, I just got this gut feeling. And I was like, I'm literally living my dream right now. And I'm about to stop it to go work. And I prayed about it. And then I also called so many of my friends. They probably got tired of hearing from me. And everyone I talked to is like, you can work later in your life. You have this opportunity right now. You need to take it. And I know that Breakaway is a little different. You know, our bodies can do this for a lot longer than a calf roper's body could. And they were like, you know, still you're in your prime. You might as well do this while you can. And that was, you know, mostly the defining reason, prayer and hearing all the support from my family and friends. And another thing to think about was like, yeah, that 6 months in Hobbs was going to be great. But I don't know if my fiance, if Garrett and I could have like lived our life in Midland together. He has a business in New Mexico to go back to, and we just couldn't have done it at the same time. And so there was a factor outside of rodeo, but it came down to like, I'm living my dream. I'm doing what God wants me to do. So I'm going to keep doing it.
Amen. I love to hear that. Again, I love it. Okay. Great fan answer. So now we're going to do a new segment this year brought to us by the Women's Rodeo World Championships. They're called Fancy's Burning Questions. This is how we play the game. I'm going to ask you 10 questions, and every question you answer, you get 10 VRQ bucks to spend on any nomination that you like. So make sure to nominate your next WCRA. Anywhere you go, you can nominate it. Okay. Are you ready? Rapid fire?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay.
Okay, here we go. What is your favorite type of music?
Country. Old country.
Country. Okay. Who was your first celebrity crush?
George Strait. Easy. I was going to marry him in the 5th grade.
I'll tell Garrett. He's missing out. Like, you're out. George is in. Okay. Who do you text the most?
My best friend, Presley Skinner.
Sorry, Garrett. You missed out on that one again. Okay. Who is your favorite traveling partner?
Oh my gosh. I went with 3 different girls this summer. That was hard. Probably Taylor Munsell. She was just such a trooper and looked out for me. So I was lucky to go with her.
And you jumped in a lake. That's cool.
Yes,
favorite horse to compete on?
Whopper.
Favorite brand of jeans?
Cinch.
Wrangler butts drive people nuts. Okay. Favorite meal to eat while you're on the road?
I like those Chinese warm-up meals. I can't remember what they're called, like Taipei or something like that. They're easy.
That makes me
fast.
want to vomit. Okay. Favorite summer rodeo?
Big Fork.
Okay. What is your last Google search?
Oh, can I look at my phone to look it up?
Yes.
Let's see. How to program my Dodge Uconnect to gate opener. I did that this evening.
Thank you, Google, for your vast of knowledge. Okay, last question. What was your last impulse buy?
Probably an Amazon buy because I'm obsessed with Amazon.
Seriously, add to cart.
Probably a water bottle. I love water bottles. I have so many. I didn't, but I got the Awala or Nawala, however you say it. So that was it.
Well, congratulations, Maddy. You are now $100 richer, and you can nominate your next event. It will be in your WRCA account.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Very good. Great job. Loved your questions and your answers. Okay. One last final question this year. We're asking everybody to wrap these 15 Days of Breakaway series up. Who do you look up to and why?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Honestly, I look up to Joe Beaver a lot. After my dad died, he reached out and stepped in and helped me so much, like helped my rope and checked in on me when I needed it. He was also the reason I went to Texas, honestly, for college. I started out at Sam Houston, and that was really daunting to me, like a girl from New Mexico going to Texas for college with all these tough girls. And it showed me that I do belong there. And from there, I went to Carlton, and I lived in Stephenville, the capital of the world now. And I really think just that little step from Joe, like, helped me grow into this person that I am now, this pro rodeo cowgirl. And I know that he does that for so many other people. Like, he's a rock for so many other people. And so I look up to him a lot for that.
I love it. Well, congratulations. This pro rodeo cowgirl has made her first of many NFBRs. Maddy Deerman coming in at number 7. Congratulations for making your first NFR, and best of luck out there.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.